3, 2, 1. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Monroe Mann here, YouTube #1 live streamer with YouTube #1 live stream guest, Dr. B. And
That's me.
technically Beatrice Anduze-Faris,
Okay.
Morocco,
Beatrice
Jamaica.
Anduze-Faris. I mean, it's French. It's not Italian or Spanish.
Say it again.
Beatrice, but call me Dr. B. It's much easier.
All right, so it's Dr. B. And maybe some of you saw my interview with Dr. B on her channel / TikTok / internet production studio. I guess I'm on 40 different sites at the same time when I was on her stream. So I invited her onto this my live stream to continue our discussion there, and also to introduce all of you guys to her. And anyway, for those of you who are brand new, would love you to subscribe. My name is Monroe Mann. I have a PhD in psych. I'm a 2-time TEDx speaker. I'm a Bronze Star nominated Iraq war vet. I'm a comedian, musician. We do lots of stuff on this channel and would love you to come check it out. So before we get started, Dr. B, who the heck are you?
Who the heck I am? That's a loaded question. I am a citizen of the world. I've been, I was born on one continent, raised on another one, and back on the American continent for the past 20 years or so. I'm an adventurer. I've done tons of things, not as much as you have, but I followed my dreams over the years, became a doctor, medical doctor, learned to fly planes because I love being in the air. Had a kid. Being a mom is something. I became an executive in the corporate world, and at the end of my career last year, I was a VP with 150 people reporting into my organization. So I got a lot of fun doing that in the leadership world. And I'm probably missing out on things. I love hammocks. I'm passionate of dogs, love animals, love the planet.
Did you say you liked hammocks?
Hammocks, yeah.
Like those things you swing on?
Yeah, I love I can't even tell you how many hammocks I have.
Wow, I've never met. I know what? Not only have I never met someone who loves hammocks, no one on this live stream has met somebody who loves hammocks as much as. Oh, Catherine does too. Catherine says I am.
So and the story is great because back in the day, like when I came to the US, back in 2003, and then I went into flying lessons. I went to Oshkosh for the second time in my life. And Oshkosh, if you don't know about it, they have an air show, international air show every year at the airport. And I stayed there for the whole week. And then there was this stand, like you have all these businesses that sell their stuff. And there was ENO, Eagle Nest Outfitters. And this guy, he had like a whole metal structure forming like a cube in the middle of the field. And he had like 20 hammocks like hanging there from these tubes. So from time to time, I would go there and just rest my back because you walk a lot in those shows. And I just love the branding. I love the quality. It's like you've been flying out, jumping out of planes. These hammocks are made out of parachute fabric. So extremely sturdy, extremely soft, and extremely light. So they have these beautiful hammocks, and I can't even tell you how many hammocks I've bought since then. And I put them everywhere. I don't travel without a hammock in my backpack.
No way.
I can put them anywhere.
Now that takes, like, V Pirate says, I love hammocks. By the way, Claudia Laurent, buenos dias. Good morning from Miami Beach. Where did we meet? I would love to know. Apparently you are a Miami Beacher as well. And I will definitely get to all the comments in a second. But I just want to go back to what Dr. B was saying. So you take a hammock with you everywhere.
Everywhere. And if I find a way to put a hammock somewhere, because with straps, you can, if you find a pole or a tree, I think at least 2 trees, It's sometimes challenging, but I have put hammocks in Airbnbs in Paris, in like an old building hanging from the ceiling. I've put hammocks in a gur in Mongolia, in the middle of a yurt. I've put hammocks on a sailboat. I've put hammocks on a railing on a patio. I mean, you can find ways to put hammocks anywhere.
Fascinating. Wow. Wow. You should. I think this is your book that you need to write. Is like the
Maybe.
the world citizen's guide to everywhere hammocks.
Oh yeah.
So wait, this Claudia Laurent apparently says we've met through Leader, aka Thought Leader, and you live in Miami Beach. By the way, do you know Dr. B is part of that same program too? And
Yeah, that's where we met. That's also where we met.
Claudia, you live here in Miami Beach. I don't know if you know that, but I live here in Miami Beach
Come
too.
over. Go see Monroe.
Maybe I'll go walk during this live stream, and we'll meet for a coffee. Alice, how are you? Are you all native? I don't know what the heck. I haven't showered yet today, if that's what you mean. I'm definitely yeah. No, I'm in Miami Beach, South Beach. So hello, V Pirate. Great to see you. Good morning to you, V. V is a member of the channel for 2 months now. That's why there's a 2 next to his name. Thank you for your support. Cool. V Pirate asked, when are we going to do a live together? I will. Did you submit the form on the website? If so, I will be looking through that in the next couple of days. I only have 2 more. I only have 1 more guest scheduled for after today. It's this Friday with Chad Kimball, Tony Award, 2-time Tony nominee, Broadway star. He started a fashion company too, and his wife is a quasi-famous television star. So we're going to interview him. I've known him for 25 years. That'll be interesting. But after that, I need new people. So I'm going to go into that form and start looking through. Hello, Catherine Graham. How are you? And let me see what else. Alice Lytra. Oh, that's the one who's asking if we're all native. And you're in North Bay Village. Cool, Claudia. Very, very, very cool. Well, hey, if you're local and we also have that other connection, absolutely. If you want to get together and have a coffee sometime, that we're clearly close by, that would be great.
So someone says I'm quarter Métis. Métis of what? Like quarter what? I'm a quarter Vietnamese.
Oh, that's what the person was asking. Are you quarter Native American? Are you Native American or something like that? Something.
Yeah.
I would say there's no such thing as a Native American because everybody came from apparently Africa. So therefore, when they came over the land bridge, maybe they were the first immigrants, but they're not Native Americans.
Right.
There was no one that was forged on the prairie plains of Kansas. No, we all came from somewhere else. There's no such thing as a Native American. That's a sticking point.
We all share common ancestors, for sure.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. V says I'm a quarter Metis. Oh, that's V. V's up in Canada. Alice Lytra says, when's the wedding? I'm not sure what the wedding is, but between me and V, or me and this other person in North Miami Beach, or maybe me and V in Canada. Apparently, it's very hip to marry a Canadian these days.
I am Canadian too.
You're Canadian too?
Yeah, I was born in Quebec.
Wow, V, look at that. I think this is the first Canadian guest that I've had on it. No, actually, you're the second because V was a guest about a month ago. By the way, V, just send me a text message or an email with 3 days and times, Eastern time when you're free, and I'll bring you back on again. Claudia says that would be great. Claudia, go to the website youtubeguests.com. youtubeguests.com with an S, because
that's what I did. It works.
I'll get if you want to be a guest on here, I'm happy to have you on. But also give me your contact info and I can reach out to you and we can coordinate a little get together. Maybe we could do a YouTube live with you and I together at a coffee shop And so that would be kind of fun.
That's cool.
V Pirate says, "Do you see my comment? My ex got arrested yesterday." So no, I didn't see. Oh no, I'm just seeing that now. Should make the divorce go faster. Child stuff found. V Pirate, that is crazy news. Child stuff found in her possession. Oh my. By the way, Dr. B, if you ever any of these comments and stuff that I'm reading, if you have anything that you want to share on these,
Sure.
you can let me know. Apparently, V Pirate had a unfortunate request for divorce recently, and he's been very heartbroken. But then he found an old friend that he rekindled with, and apparently they're having a little love connection.
Mm.
And V Pirate says, in Canada is where the tactical assault geese are.
I'm not sure what that means.
Dr. B, what do you think that person is talking? Are there tactical assault geese in Quebec?
I don't know. What's a tactical assault goose?
I don't know, but things are really weird up in Canada. They do strange things up there, and you know why they're tactical assault geese? Because they all come from Canada. They come down to the United States over the border, and they wreak havoc in our country.
We see them here, yeah, definitely in New Jersey. They come every year. They stay longer and longer, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know why they don't want to go home.
They are like the illegal immigrants. They just come and do not leave. Saku, hello, greetings to Saku in India. Nice to see you. And let me see, that would be great to see my comment. V Pirates, Italian, Danish. Claudia is Colombian and French. Very nice. And let me see what else we have. I would love to be on YouTube as well. Sounds great, Claudia. Would love to chat with you more. Claudia is launching a book in December. Very nice. Dr. B, are you working on a book besides your book about hammocks?
I am. It's not really taking off yet. I think I'm getting really ready for it now.
You're talking about ready for writing it?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Ready. Yeah, I think I've been thinking about it for decades.
You know what I always tell people? That, all right, other than this is perfect, I will tell you the foolproof way to getting the book done.
Yes.
Your first step is write the back cover blurb. Forget about the title. Just write the one paragraph today saying this. Like, have you ever wanted to learn how to start a YouTube channel? In this amazing, informative, entertaining book, Dr. B shares you, blah, 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 blah. But just write that. It gives you a summary.
So you advertise it as if it was done already. So it
yes.
makes it, yeah.
And the reason why you do that is because it gives you some encouragement to think, oh, this is what people are going to read when they read the book. Next, you print that out and you put it on the wall and you see it every day. But the next step is just write the table of contents using that back cover blurb to kind of guide it. So chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 12, chapter 15.
That's awesome.
They don't have to have perfect title names, but it just needs to be a summary of what that chapter is about.
I love that.
The next step, day 3, take each one of the chapters. This is optional because it doesn't work for every book. But let's say your first chapter, like if I were to do a book on starting a YouTube channel, I would break the first chapter 1 would be, let me just say, it would probably be the first one would be get into the right psychological mindset, because the success of anything in life is about psychology first, tangible step second. But what would be the mindset is realize it's going to take you longer than you think. Get some thick skin. Get ready to put up with the YouTube algorithm.
So wait, you have the back cover, then you have the names of the chapters, so you have the flow, and then you start writing.
Then coming up with the sub chapters within each chapter.
Oh, got it.
And it doesn't necessarily, you can actually break them off into sub chapters, or just that this will be like the 6 or 7 main things I want to talk about in that. After that, you just set a timer every day for 10 minutes.
Oh, nice.
That's it. 10 minutes you spend, and you say every day I'm going to spend 10 minutes, and all you do is look at that back cover blurb and look at that table of contents and say, I'm going to write for 10 minutes. It's not, I'm going to sit there and write for 500 words. It's not, I'm going to finish the first chapter. No, 10 minutes. The beauty of that is if you can't do anything after 10 minutes, you go, you know what? I didn't get anywhere. That's fine. You sat down and you did some thinking.
But you did it.
But you did
10
it.
minutes.
Most of the time, you will end up writing for an hour because you end up getting into the mood of it.
I love this.
And by the way, if any of you guys are wondering how I know this, I've written 11 books, one of which was a Barnes & Noble #1 bestseller in the careers category. And I have in my YouTube store, which I don't think is linked here, but it's linked to my channel. I finally uploaded one of my novels, which you can get for $1.99. I decided, after getting rejected by 100 literary agents, telling me that you are not famous enough to write a novel.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm thinking, wow, that's what it's come to these days. It doesn't matter about the content, it matters about your fan base. I said, all right, bye-bye. And now I've got a small but burgeoning fan base here on YouTube. So you can download that for on my store. That being said, what will your book be about if you write a first book?
Well, so far it's a little bit about my life story, but then it goes into how do you get out of big trauma in your life? How do you get out of the tunnel? How do you get out of the spiraling and being held back in your life into living your true purpose because you've gone through shit in your past and
Oh,
you
watch
haven't
your language, by the way.
processed it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Oops. You don't have
We're-
an AI that an AI that bleeps the thing?
You know what? I honestly, I bet I'd say maybe in a year or two, that would be something that YouTube will have on here where creators can automatically go through and and edit it selectively for bad words or bad languages, or you put in saying, hey, anytime these words were said in the
Yeah.
live stream, just bleep them out.
Yeah.
So that
I
would be
think it
pretty cool.
already exists actually on recorded videos anyway. I don't know about live, but it exists.
That's
We're
cool.
not that far from that technology.
No, we're not far from a lot of things. It's quite scary. We'll come back to that and say we're going to go talk about technology in a moment. We'll also going to come back to this book topic and EFT, which you told me you're an expert in. It's called emotional freedom therapy
Techniques.
techniques.
It's
Emotional
not therapy
freedom.
because it's really self-help. Because you can learn it for yourself and just do it for yourself.
So, all right, we're going to learn about this guy. So stick around for a second. We're going to do emotional freedom techniques with Dr. B. I'm going to go to jump into some of the comments now and catch up with that, and then we'll learn about EFT. And Claudia says, blessings to you, V Pirate. Reverend, that's not a nice thing to say. I'm going to, remove that. Well, I won't remove it. I'm just saying it's not a nice thing to say. He says, yeah, I'm not even going to repeat it. V Pirate says, I see so many videos of the geese attacking people. Yes, that is true. V Pirate's working on a book about boomerang jokes, but I forget them. I'm sure it will come back to me. That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard, V Pirate. I thought I say stupid jokes. You just beat me. That was a really stupid, funny, dumb joke. V Pirate writes poetry. Sacco, such an amazing way to be inspiring. Thank you, legend. You're welcome. You're welcome for me bringing you Dr. B. V Pirate says, sounds like a book I'd read. I've been through a lot and trying to build myself back up. So you got your first reader here. Claudia says, congratulations on all your success and blessings you're in writing your books. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I always say, I'm not a successful person. I'm a man with many accomplishments. And I talk about that a lot. Some people disagree with me, but accomplishments are things you do. And success is what you reap from what you do. And I feel like I've done a lot, but I haven't reaped a lot from it. People may disagree with me, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
And maybe success is how you feel about it.
Yeah, that's all part of it. It's how you feel about it, and it's how I mean, everyone has their own definition of success, and that's fine, and I get that. But in terms of, I want to be successful in a very societal way. Like for everything that I've done, people have always said, Monroe, you should be a multimillionaire by now. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And so to me, it's the fact that people say you should be a multimillionaire by now, to me, that's my evidence that, okay, I'm not a success. I don't need to be a multimillionaire, but it's frustrating to me with all of the accomplishments. With everything I've done, you would imagine like the odds are like, really? If you just look at my resume and go, God, this guy must be a multimillionaire, but I'm not. Let me see some more comments here. V Pirate says you said it was stupid, but you smiled. Stupid jokes can still be funny, but it was really stupid. Claudia says, Dr. B, I love your topic, and it's similar to my topic about transcending traumas without the drama. Let's connect.
Yes,
Look at
let's
this.
do.
We're
Awesome.
bringing people together on here. V Pirate says, I like that differences between accomplishment and success. I don't think a lot of people make that difference clear to themselves. And I think a lot of people equate success with accomplishment, but they're not the same thing in any way, shape, or form. And I think people who don't understand my quandary, where I keep telling people I'm more accomplished than I'd say 99% of the people in the world. And I know that for a fact. And there are certainly some people like Elon Musk who are, I would say we're equally accomplished, because I've done some things that he will never do. I was in a war in Iraq. I was nominated for a Bronze Star. I lived in China for a year and speak Chinese. Now he could do a lot of these things. He can't join the military now, probably, given how old he is and this and that. But we're both equally accomplished. He is exceedingly more successful than me on magnitude of scales. But I don't even think of myself as successful, and that's the thing. How about you, Beatrice? Do you consider yourself successful?
I'm not sure what that means. Like you, I think I've done a lot of stuff in my life. Does that mean I'm successful? I mean, I reached a level of success in the corporate world that I never thought I would reach, and that was kind of satisfying. But it was still not enough. So I don't know what that means. I think it's like success and happiness and health. Being healthy. What does that mean? Some people, it might be something totally different than someone else. So I think it's very not only subjective, but I think it changes with you throughout your life. Your definition of success, my definition of success now is probably not the same as it was like 5 years ago or 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing is when you accomplish something, there's always something else to accomplish. So if success was for me to become a private pilot, I succeeded. I did that. But when you succeed that, it becomes an accomplishment and success becomes something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because we keep looking forward into life. So being successful is almost like saying it's a state. In the language, it's a state, but the reality is we're never in that state because we don't stay in that state. It's always shifting around.
You make a very interesting point, because I kind of feel like, yeah, it is about the language. Being successful is a steady thing that goes with you. I am successful. And it's like, I've arrived and now I'm at this level where I am successful. And that is,
It feels stagnant, doesn't it?
yeah, it feels stagnant. And also the fact that it's true. You can succeed in accomplishing something. And I could say to you, like, you are a medical doctor, which, by the way, hats off to you, and a salute. It's a very wonderful accomplishment in life. But I wouldn't say that's a great success in life.
No,
It's not a success to become a doctor. It's not a success
no.
to become a pilot, which you are. Again, a salute. So, two things in my life. Oh, people always say, Monroe, is there anything you haven't done? Well, you've done two of the things I haven't done, which is become a pilot and become a medical doctor. They're still on my list. Maybe that'll happen, but
You never know. With
again,
Monroe.
that's what annoys me, is that there are accomplishments, and I'm very successful. Here, bringing this all full circle. I'm very successful at turning dreams into accomplishments,
I love that.
but I'm not. I don't feel I am successful in terms of a state. And people, V, who's on this, the guy from Canada, he was asking about, well, what's it going to take to become? What will it take for you to feel successful? And I feel like I want I can go out and get a job somewhere. I did have a job. I was working as an immigration attorney for a year here. I hated it. It was horrible. I hate working for other people. It's not fun.
Mm.
I do like working for the government for other people because I don't think of it as a job. Like when I was in the military, I didn't think of it as a job. It was like you say, join the army. It's not a job. It's an adventure. And so working in the government and something like that, police, fire, it didn't feel like a job. But I have a problem working for other people in the civilian world. It's not fun. Why is it not fun? Because I'm working for someone who is doing my definition of successful. If that makes sense? When I'm working at that immigration firm, they're all driving around in fancy cars, going away on vacation every 2 weeks to all these different countries, and they have a staff of 100 people working for them. Now, I don't want to be like them because I don't really care about fancy cars, and I don't want to go away every 2 weeks and have my employees slave away to finance my lavish lifestyle. So I mean that parts of it were kind of rubbing me the wrong way. But I will feel successful when I am making money on my own terms and I'm making enough money doing my own thing. YouTube, one of my own companies, as an author, as a television act, whatever it is. And I'm making enough money from that as I could at a regular job. And it's funny just talking about this now. That's why I feel successful. Someone just became a member. Wow, this is the first time someone became a member on the live stream. So guess what? I think that was Claudia. Welcome to the Roman Empire Legionary. Look at this. You get to go onto the super board, which is pretty cool. By the way, for any of you who are curious what this is, I track all the money basically made for the month. My highest was 520 last month. This month, we're a second goal, 350. We already reached 200, and we're at about 310 now. And we're gonna I have to add a special place here. Let's see. I'll just do 38. I'll consider that a super here, which is Claudia Laurent, Claudia Laurent, and new member. That is super cool. Woo-hoo. Thank you so much, Claudia, for joining the behind the scenes. This is an opportune time to tell Claudia and everybody else, what do you get when you become a member of the channel? You have member first videos. So as often as I can when I post a video, if I'm allowed to do it a member first, members get to see them days, weeks, or even sometimes months before everybody else. I do behind the scenes practicing music, behind the scenes practicing comedy improv characters, and just do basically chit chats with my fans. And it's kind of like these, but with a smaller group of people, and you can ask me more private things that I probably wouldn't say on a public live stream. So let's all give Claudia a big, huge round of applause. And woo! And thank you, Claudia. Claudia, I was going to bring you on as a guest, even if you didn't do that. Now you definitely get to come on as a guest. Wow. By the way, V Pirate, maybe that's a way. If you want to go to the top of the list to become a guest, you can become a member of the channel. Just suggesting. But now Claudia's going in front of the line. Claudia's coming on before you. Let's catch up on some comments, and then we'll keep going. Skaterade says, "Is that your mom?" No, Dr. B is my daughter. And I'm so proud of her that she became a pilot and became a doctor. You know what, Dr. B, I'm so proud that you're my daughter. And you mean everything to me. Claudia, I like that perspective. Anchor, does Dr. B have any books to read? Anchor, not yet. She's working on her first one, and we're going to talk more about her book in one moment. We're going to come back to EFT.
The book that doesn't exist yet.
The book that doesn't exist yet. Claudia says that would be a great title to a new perspective and new book. What was the name of the book, Claudia? That you said that would be a great title to a new perspective. I don't remember what we were talking about. Anchor says, "Thank you for your service." Anchor, I salute you as well. It's my pleasure. I got to turn the AC on. All these new members. Whew, it's making me hot today. You know, it's in Miami Beach right now. It's getting to the point where in the morning, from 7 p.m. until 11 a.m. It's cool enough to have the windows open and no AC on, but still from 11 to 4, it's Miami Beach. V Pirate was in Iraq and Baghdad. No kidding. Fascinating, V Pirate. Yeah, I was in Tikrit, Tuz, Taji, and Kirkuk for a brief period of time. Skaterade says it's all a simulation. Claudia, thank you for your service. You're welcome, Claudia. Thank you for that. Happiness is fleeting, but joy is substantial. Skaterade says I'm a non-playable character in my reality, and I am a non-playable character in yours. It changes
Nice.
everything. Everything. Claudia says, great point, Dr. B. Skaterade morning, great day for fishing, ain't it? Oh, that's what V Pirate says. What's up, Yasmin? Yasmin, I saw that you have 44 subscribers now. That's pretty awesome. On the other hand, I keep seeing that you keep deleting all of your former prior videos. Like you come up with a theme to do your shorts, and then you start doing a different type of short. You delete all the prior ones. My advice, don't do that, because you could potentially get new subscribers from those old videos. And when eventually you start monetizing your channel and making money, you want massive numbers of videos so that there's enough for YouTube to suggest to other people. Everyone can do whatever they want, and maybe you've got a plan. But I miss seeing all these old videos that I liked, that I go to your channel, and then it's like, wow, she's rebranded the channel completely, and I see nothing that I recognize from her old channel. And I think you're going to upset a lot of your subscribers too. I do the exact same stuff over and over. I'll add new things, but I'll never take away the old. And I'm sure, Dr. B, what advice do you have? You're also a YouTuber. And
I agree. I agree with you. And, you never know what kind of message could be helpful for someone. So even if it's not helpful to you anymore, or it doesn't resonate with what you do now because we evolve, it could still help someone. Never know.
Absolutely. You never know. And literally on my channel, sometimes I will get a comment from one of these new fans, like someone like Claudia or someone who just found us today. And she'll find a video from 5 years ago and get a comment on it. And I'll go, wow, I haven't seen this video in forever. And then I end up watching it again. And then you never know who you can influence.
Yeah, and I heard of some people that had prior old videos that became viral. So you never, even that, like the algorithm sometimes might just kick in for something that you did a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. And
so it's potential.
And this algorithm is so I've read something, and this was in the book, the YouTube formula, which doesn't talk anything about live streaming, which is what I do. And it's like, great, the whole book doesn't help me at all, which makes me think I should write a book on YouTube live streaming. That could be a book I could pitch that maybe people might be interested in reading. Anyway, the book said that something like, once you have 1,000 videos on YouTube, or around there, 800 or 1,200, I forget what the number was, supposedly that's when YouTube will start suggesting your videos more and more, because at that point YouTube knows that there is massive content on the channel for people to get lost in.
Does it matter the quality of those videos or just the number?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it matters if you're monetized. I'm sure there are a lot of factors involved, but it's saying if you're a monetized channel and you have above this threshold, YouTube will then start to promote. I don't know if that's true, and the algorithm changes all the time.
Yeah.
But and I also realize how many videos that is. I do about 7 to 10 live streams per week and about 3 to 4 shorts. I still only have something like 380 videos, and it's unbelievable how long it takes to get to 800 or 1,000. But it gives you something to look forward to.
Well, one a day. It will take you 3 years, so that's it.
Yeah. So, which is the good news is that I think I will probably get there in about a year from now. Pip Maple asked a great question, and I'll field this to you first, Dr. B, and then I'll give my thoughts. Pip Maple in England asked, would you consider a college player less successful than NFL? If so, what would be the criteria for that?
Well, that's not a question for me because I'm not into sports.
If you want, I can take it. You want me to take it?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe
Maybe you'll have something to riff off of after I share my thoughts. So that's a trick question because college players prior to, I think, a year or 2 or 3 years ago could not make any money, and they could not get any endorsement deals, and they had to basically play for free. They could get scholarships to play for UCLA or whatever, but they were not able to make money. That changed a few years ago. And the NCAA, National Collegiate Athletic Association, I think, changed their law, their policies. But now you see people like Olivia Dunn, which you may or may not know, but she's 19, I guess, and she was like 18, or maybe she's 20 now, but she was like 19, 18 when she started college at, I think, LSU, Louisiana State University. And a gymnast, she's making millions of dollars through her Instagram followers, through all of her endorsement deals. So why do I say that? Your question, Pip Maple, is a trick question. Prior to this NCAA ruling, I would say you're not really a success as a college player on the global societal scale of things because you're not making any money from it. You're just going to school for free and you're playing football to pay to get your scholarship. I think it's very admirable, and you're a success in navigating the school system to get a great scholarship and this and that. But I don't think you were really a success until you went pro. And I think a lot of ask any college ball players if they were superstars during college, but then after that they're not playing for pro ball and then they end up getting a job as a banker. They probably feel like they didn't really become a success. I'd say I guarantee a lot of them did. Now, like people like Olivia Dunn and all these other athletes who are they can make money from their endorsement deals. And while they're playing as a sophomore, they could be making millions of dollars. Absolutely. I mean, that girl, Olivia Dunn, is a much bigger success than me. And she's less than half my age. Yeah. Less than half my age. Why? Because she's doing something she loves on her terms and is making money from it to support everything that she's doing. So Dr. B has her mouth going. She wants to say, what do you want your input?
Here's the trick though. Is she happy? Like, does that mean that those younger people who are successful, are they happy?
Not necessarily. But success and happiness are completely different things.
Yeah.
And there are some people, and this is why some people, if they were in my position, not my mind, if they were in my physical position with their life and they've done all these, I'm sure people say the same thing to you. Dr. V, oh my gosh, if I were a medical doctor and I were a pilot, I would be so happy. I would be, but people, and you know what's funny? I often hear people getting upset with me, telling me that I'm not, that when they think I'm ungrateful when I say I don't feel like a success, even though I've accomplished things.
Mm-hmm.
It often comes from people who are not as accomplished as me. People who are as accomplished as me, they understand. And they go, you know what? I get it. I know what you're talking about. Which is not a criticism of the people who don't understand. That's human nature. People don't understand. I don't understand you, B. You don't understand me half the time. That's just the way. That's just the way it is. But and again, that whole attitude that I say about the NCAA players and the NFL, it's going from my definition of success and who I am. I told you before, why do I not feel successful? I told you guys this a few weeks ago, as soon as I moved to Florida, I got offered a job for $125,000 a year doing coding as a Ruby on Rails developer in Brooklyn, which is something I always wanted to do. And I fought for years to get a coding job, a 6-figure coding job. I moved to Florida 4 days after I get here, and all my stuff has moved down here. I get the job offer. I'm like, come on. Come on. Isn't that life? It's just typical. But that to me would not have been success. That would be selling out. Going back to New York and giving up on my plan here to start the private investigation firm, which I've started and is active, because I want to do things on my own terms. And I want to make money from something that I gave birth to. And I say money, like making a good $200,000 a year salary. If I make $200,000 doing something I love, I'm a super success. If I can make $4,000 a month doing YouTube, I will consider myself a huge success. Why? I get to sing, dance, perform, do comedy, public speaking, help people with psychological problems, guide people with financial issues, and I'm getting paid to do it on my own time, and I can travel anywhere I want and still do this as long as I got a Wi-Fi connection. I mean, talk about talk about feeling like you're not just accomplished. What a successful person I will feel when I can say, yes, I am making my entire living from YouTube. It's not about how much money I'm making.
Right, but so you do that, and we talk again about it to see if you still feel successful then, because then you have reached that level of accomplishment, but you're still going to look forward into something else.
It will be, but I think I will finally have reached a base level of success because I am still a child in my mind, because I've wanted to be an entrepreneur and be a successful, quote unquote, that word, actor, singer, producer, musician, speaker,
TEDx.
since I was 18, 19. And so I want to get to the point where I've done it. So even though I've accomplished a lot of things, I have not accomplished the one thing that started all of this. So maybe it's funny. And by the way, guys, why does it help to go talk to a psychologist? It's not because the psychologist is often giving you great advice, because oftentimes they don't.
That's not their job.
Their job is to just help you talk through it. Because honestly, we all have, and by the way, if just so you know, Dr. B is a medical doctor. I have a PhD in psychology. I don't know if you've noticed, I've kind of solved a bunch of my own problems just talking right here on this live stream. I figured out why I don't feel successful. It's because I'm not successful on my own terms.
Yeah.
For me to if someone says, Monroe, here's $300,000, I want you to come work for me, I would still feel, can't believe this guy's got all the money to pay me $300,000 a year because his business is successful. Here's another question. Anchor says, Monroe, is fame a success to you? Not necessarily fame. I would like recognition. I'd like financial recognition for the contributions I make to the world. This is why many people consider that I'm a success already on YouTube. I consider it a quasi-success because it's another accomplishment. I monetize the channel. Why do I get so excited and such an adrenaline rush when somebody gives me a super chat of even 99 cents, or someone like Claudia becomes a paying member, or I look at the financials of the YouTube channel and see that there is some $15 in ad revenue? I go, awesome. I'm making money from something that people feel is financially valuable to them. And I always say, I always appreciate people watching, even if you're not contributing financially, because you are contributing financially, because you're helping by watching the ads, or by every time you watch, when someone else finds the live stream, you're one more person who builds up the credibility of the channel. There are 9 people here now. If someone else comes now, they're going to go, oh, look, there's this cool guest, Dr. B. There's all these people chatting, and there are 9 people. Maybe I'll stick around. So everyone's contributing. But the financial stuff gives me that little bit of boonk, and that's why I tell people, there's a guy, Manvant, and there's another guy in India. who they give 100 rupees every once in a while. And it comes out to be like 72 cents, American cents.
Yeah.
And some of the people, when my spammers in here, they go, dude, you're getting, and I always go, oh my gosh, Man Vance in India just gave me 100 rupees. And he's like, dude, that's 77 cents. And I go, first of all, I know that it's 77 cents. Someone just spent their hard-earned money to support me, to encourage me to keep going with this. And 100 rupees in India is like a month of Netflix. So, I mean, it's the equivalent of giving like $10. So, like, people are so, it's all about perspective. And that's what we're talking about, B. The difference between different people have different success definitions, different. Let me switch gears and ask you, what do you think about perspective? And what's the importance of perspective in leading into this EFT that you work with?
Oh, perspective is everything. And that's why I love flying. And I think even if I had a chance in this lifetime to go into outer space, I would probably do it, even with the fear of whatever. Because perspective, if you take, for me, perspective is about altitude. If you take a little bit of altitude, whether physically off the ground, where you start seeing the world through a totally different angle, or mentally by taking altitude from your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own feelings, whatever conditions and circumstances you have in your life, you get that perspective gets you possibilities. It opens up for potential, which you may not see if you just stay in your own little world and line of sight. So perspective is broadening your line of sight so that you have a different view on things. And if you can do that, then you can raise awareness of how you feel in this moment, but you can also look at other ways. Like, it just opens up for different things in your life. I think a lot of people who are stuck in trauma, that's what they're lacking. They're lacking perspective. There was one thing that one friend of mine did one day. I did a TikTok video on that. One day I was in Vietnam, which is the native land of my father, and I did the one thing that they tell you in every guide not to do. I traded money, my dollars or French franc, I don't remember what it was, euros, for Vietnam dongs on the street. Everyone tells you don't do that when you're in Vietnam or any of these countries. And I did that. And just after the fact, in the moment, I thought, oh, I'm having a good deal, because they get you into that mindset. And right afterwards, I realized I probably lost $200 in the change. And I felt so bad, right? And I was in this like bubble of stress and anxiety and resentment and guilt and whatever else feelings. My friend sat me down on the bench in the middle of a park, and he said, just imagine you are 50 years from now and look back at this day. And immediately it calmed me down. I was like, oh, 50 years from now, I don't freaking care about the $200 of having. It's actually now a good experience. It's a traveling story, right? That's perspective. It can change everything in your life if you take a different perspective of things.
You gave me kindling or sparks for so many different analogous stories. Last night, I got my car towed.
Oh,
here in Miami Beach, and I thought I was in a spot that was fine. It's on-street parking, but when I come back at night, sometimes there's no parking, and so I just parked in this place behind the condo right next door to me, and it got towed. And as a Miami Beach resident, usually you only have to pay $100 if it's towed. I found out that's only if it's towed from public property, from city. $440.
Oh, no.
$440. And while I was there, I saw this young guy and girl sitting there too, and they looked so sad. And I ended up talking to them and going, "You're as miserable as I am right now, right?" And they go, "Yeah." It turns out they are from New York. They came here on vacation 2 days ago, their rental car got towed, and they would not release the car unless the owner of the rental car came. And they use this Toro app where you rent your own car to other people. And he said, I can't come down there, this and that. And they wanted to go to Key West tomorrow. And I said, thank you. I put my legal hat on. I gave them a ride back to their hotel, which was 20 minutes away, and that cheered them up a little bit. And I said, here, I'm going to give you some advice. You've done everything that you need to do. It's not your car. You informed the owner, and the owner and the tow truck company said the owner has to come and pick up the car. You have plans to go to Key West tomorrow and have a nice vacation. Just go. Just leave the car there and keep the text messages showing that you informed the owner, and the owner said, I'm not coming to go pick it up. Well, then it's not your responsibility. Just sit there and wait. And so I'm hoping I inspire them. But the reason why I mention that is they said to me, maybe one day we'll laugh about this.
Exactly.
And I said, I said, I don't know if we'll laugh about it, but maybe it won't be as a big, it won't be a big deal. But it really hurt taking $440 of cash. Oh, that's one thing. You have to pay in cash.
Oh my goodness.
And I had to use an ATM machine, and it was so much money that I had to do 2 ATM transactions. And it doesn't seem as much money when you just put it on a debit card or something. When you have to withdraw it from your bank account, and you see 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. I'm like, this is an absolute disaster. But you're right. You don't remember it in time, because I had my tar code towed 2 years ago here as well. And I paid another $440. And I barely even remembered that until it happened again yesterday. But, fool me once, shame on me, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Mm-hmm.
There will not be a fool me 3 times. I will not do that again. The other thing that you reminded me is of altitude, because you're a pilot, gives you perspective. As you know, I'm a skydiver.
Yes.
And it is, so many people say they're scared of heights, and for that reason they don't want to go skydiving. You don't feel like, when you're so high up and you're looking out from 14,000 feet, it's not so imminently scary, because you can barely see the ground. If you're looking at the top of the Empire State Building and looking down in New York City, you can visualize yourself splatting on the ground. You see people going, what, that's going to hurt. But at 14,000 feet, you don't even your brain doesn't recognize. You're scared because your mind goes, I'm flying in a very safe machine right now. Why would I leave this thing?
I know.
But I don't think it's the fear of height, because I don't think it's the same vertigo feeling. I don't get a vertigo feeling when I go skydiving. It's a butterfly in your stomach feeling of fear.
How many times have you done that?
59.
Wow.
It was supposed to be 60 and 61 on Veterans Day, oh my gosh, Monroe gets very angry at a lot of things. They sent out an email saying, come skydive on Veterans Day. If you're a veteran, get half off. I thought, well, that's the day I'm going to go. They're open usually from 9 a.m. until 4:30. I figured, you know what? I'm not going to get there early. I'm going to go there. I'll leave around 10. I'll get there at noon. I get there at noon. There's nobody there except one staff person. I go, what's going on? They go, oh, we closed early. And I didn't get angry until I was driving home and realized they could have emailed everybody again and saying, we shut down early, don't come. And when I stopped along the way to get gas, I had checked email. I would have gotten that email. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about right now, Dr. B. And for all of you watching, but I wanted to tell this story because I wanted to yell at somebody, because I couldn't yell at the skydive place, because it's really the only place to skydive here, and I don't want them to ban me.
Oh, right.
And I tell you, monopolies are terrible. Anyway, let me go to some more comments. Oh, is fame a success to you? don't know if we even got to that, but, and Dr. B, you can chime in too. Fame is not necessarily, I don't want to be famous because I want to be famous. I want to be famous because, and here's the other thing, it's not fame alone. You could be famous for some terrible things. I don't want to be famous for murdering somebody. But I mean, look at the two Menendez brothers now. And they killed their parents back in the 90s, and now they're up for potential parole. Or, I mean, they're famous, but it's not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
The other thing is fame alone. I always say, what would you rather have? The question is asked, if you and this is a question for you, B too. Would you want to be famous or be a millionaire? I always say, I mean, there are two arguments. If you're fame, is it easier to turn fame into millions of dollars, or is it easier to turn millions of dollars into fame?
Yeah, I think they're not mutually exclusive, but they're not necessarily linked either. But when you say better to be famous or successful or even millionaire, that makes me think of, and I'm gonna forget his name now.
Pee Wee Herman.
Hmm?
I'm just throwing names out. Jack Canfield, Claudia Loret,
William
Shakespeare.
The Dead Poets Society.
Oh, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. So that makes me think of him, right? And other people like I'm very bad with names, as you can see, but Chester Bennington. So famous people, probably even rich, very successful from the outside world, and yet miserable inside.
My
And committed
friend
suicide.
Ava's a big supporter of me in this channel, and she texted me a quote from politically misguided but wise Jim Carrey, who said, "I wish everybody could become rich and famous,
Mm-hmm.
so they can learn firsthand that is not the answer to all of your problems."
Yes.
So I acknowledge that I'll probably be just as miserable when I'm rich and famous. But as Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, once wrote, he said, "I have been broke and miserable and rich and miserable.
Yeah.
It's much better to be rich and miserable."
Oh yeah, I mean it has
Right?
yeah, it has some advantages, but it still doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
And you know, when I traveled to Guatemala at some point in my life, and one thing that I learned, and I learned that in Vietnam as well, very, very poor countries in this world. And you meet these kids in the street, and they're probably some of the poorest kids in the world, but they're happy.
Mhm.
They are radiant. They are,
There's
you look at them and you feel happy, you know? And that's a real life lesson in terms of what you need to be happy. You probably don't need to be successful or have millions of dollars. That's a choice you can make in life, but it doesn't have to be that way to be happy.
and I think it's also the Western world, because, like you said, they've done studies that people in Africa are generally happier than people in the United States.
Yep.
And people in Africa have 1/10 of what I have a lot of friends there. They get malaria, and their kids get malaria multiple times per year.
Yeah.
They have to sleep under mosquito nets. They don't have the air conditioning. It's not the air conditioning doesn't work very well. They do not have air conditioning and
Yeah.
things like that, and yet they're happier. And I think it's because their life is focused on the more important things, which are love, family, friends, and just making sure you're eating and trying to do your best to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Whereas,
And we are, particularly here in this country, we are hyper consumerism folks. And I think there's two things with that. First, it's the whole plethora of availability of products, which is crazy. But then it's like we're hoarding all these things around us because we think they make us feel artificially happy. in reality, they're not. And we accumulate all these things thinking, we have abundance. But abundance is not about the things that you have in your life. It's about how you feel. It's about how you provide value to others. It's about, it's about how you come across in the world. And I have the same. I also I'm talking a lot about my trips for some reason, but I went to Mongolia as well. And at some point in my trip in Mongolia, I stayed with people from the desert. And they live in very simple gur,
Did you
like
go to Tirelj?
No.
Oh, what city did you go to?
Ulaanbaatar, and then I went into the countryside.
Cool. Okay,
for
continue.
a whole 10-day trip. So when we stayed with the desert people, and we stayed like 3 days with that family, you realize that what you have in life, like you have a hole to go pee and poop somewhere in the sand, right? You have the food that they bring to you. They have a camel that's really your lifeline for them. They have actually usually a TV and a satellite dish because they want to have some entertainment. But that's it. And the kids were playing with a tire and a pick and a stick. And that family was extremely happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you really don't need that. Gave us a sense of how much do you really need to be happy and survive in this world?
Not only that, but Dr. B, they don't have any desire to live like you do or like me.
No, they don't
that
need
is
it.
so amazing. I always tell people my ambition is my blessing and my curse. I love my ambition because it inspires people. I hate it. I wish I could be a normal, boring person and just get a job that I hate and stick with it and just power through every day. And I'm not insulting any of those people because they are probably happier than me because they don't have this great ambition.
That's also a very important point, is that you have a lot of people who live like 9 to 5 and they have a boring job and all that. And I'm like, maybe you don't want to, or you don't think you can change your conditions and circumstances, but what you can do is make a decision to be happy in what you have. And so even the most boring job, I look at people when they look unhappy doing their job, like at the cashier at the store, or I don't know, like usually those retail stores, and they just shout at you and they just like not pleasant because they're miserable in
like
their
the
own.
guy at the tow truck place?
Yeah. And I'm like, if that's what you chose in your life, to be in that type of job, then at least
be happy about it.
Go full in with it. Live with it 100% of the time and be happy. Make people happy around you. Actually, you don't need to have a good job to make people happy around you.
Yeah, I always say I don't care what anybody does because you are not defined by your job.
Exactly.
But you should
some people let themselves
something,
be defined.
You should be happy about it and don't make everyone else around you miserable doing the job. I find some people who love. By the way, I once worked at a supermarket stocking shelves and this and that. I did it with joy and it was fun. And I loved making every part of the supermarket shelf, but the cereals perfectly, the ramen, and making sure everything was color coded and beautiful. And sometimes you'll see people at the supermarket doing that.
Yeah, you can have fun with it. Have fun with whatever you have in your hands,
100% fun. Let's catch up on some comments. Yeah. We just got down to Claudia Laurent joining as a member. Thank you, Claudia. So there's an N next to your name with a red background. That means new member. So these are custom badges I made for my members. You'll see some people like V and Ava and Jamie, they've got a 2. That means they've been a member now for more than 2 months. So as you stick around, and I hope you will, you'll go higher and higher on the ranks. It goes 1 month, 2 months. The next one is 6 months. And looking forward to seeing, and it turns yellow soon too. So you get a fancy brick bright yellow number 1 very soon. Skaterate says, what was my job in the Army? I was an intelligence officer, and my job in Iraq was training the 4th Iraqi Army on intelligence operations and helping them actually go on their daily patrols and doing their intelligence stuff. V-Pirates, Skaterade, we referenced in NCM's page. Okay, Skaterade, never heard of them. Claudia says Laurent, the French name spoiled in Spanish. Claudia Laurent. Yeah, that does look kind of like a French name that was turned Spanish. V-Pirate says, how do I do that? V-Pirate, I don't know what you're referring to. So
that was a while back, I think.
Let me know what you're referring to, V-Pirate. Claudia gave a woot woot. It's so terrible that I don't keep up with these chat messages as well as I should because I get so engaged with the guests or the talking. But thank you for the woot woot. Don't know what it's about. Claudia's laughing now about something. We don't know what. Skaterade, we got her to laugh. Hello, Monroe and Dr. B. What's up, Jamie? So yeah, Jamie's one of the members who's been here for 2. Jamie, great news. Somebody became a member that on the live stream. Her name's Claudia Laurent, and it was really cool. On my screen, a big thing came up that said member, and the countdown started, and it was a big fireworks and happiness. So anyway, wanted to share that with you. It was pretty cool. And Claudia, you are the first person.
She left, by the way.
What's that?
She left.
Oh, Claudia left?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to jump off for a Zoom meeting. 11. All right. Well, anyway, maybe Claudia will watch us later. But it was the first time that it's ever happened during a live stream that somebody became a paid member. So that was pretty neat. V-Pirate says, I'm debating getting back into TikTok and YouTube. So V-Pirate was saying that before he had a TikTok with like 200,000 subscribers or something like that. And apparently he was making quite a good living. And he said he shut it all down because he started getting lots of stalkers.
Oh.
And that's interesting. And V-Pirate, that'll be one of the things we'll talk about during our live stream when we set that up. Like I said, I don't know if you submitted the form yet, though. That's what I mean. V says, don't delete your old content. Oh, my gosh. That's a long time ago. I'm really behind. Commenting on a 5-year-old video, stalker much? Anyone who comments on a 5-year-old video of mine, I don't think of them as stalker. Super fan. V-Pirate says, back when I used to make videos, I would make a whole bunch and then slowly release them. That way you don't have to constantly make new ones. That's what I try to do with the shorts, like with the towel dancing. Sometimes I'll come out of the shower and I'm in a dancing mood and I got the towel on. I go, by the way, just so you know, I do have shorts on underneath when I do the towel dancing. I'm not going to be doing it with the risk of,
behind the scenes.
Yeah. But I'll do like 3 or 4 at the time, and then I'll schedule them. And I think that's a really good idea, V-Pirate. V-Pirate says you don't need money to be happy, but I've never seen anyone sad while holding a $100 bill. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's a good therapy technique. Just say, look, don't pay your psychologist $100. Just go to the bank, take out $100, and whenever you're sad, just take it out and look at your $100 bill. and
that's exposure therapy, it's called.
What's that? Exposure therapy?
Exposure therapy.
That's funny. Hi, Major. How are you? V-Pirate, the days we stop learning is the day we die. That's every day you reach your goal, a new one is made. Good advice.
Yes.
V-Pirate is here. V-Pirate says, I actually prefer the live streams with smaller crowds so we can talk. Sometimes the comments get lost. And I think, guys, knock on wood, let's hope that is what happens to this channel, that it becomes so successful that there are so many comments that you can't keep up, because guess what it's going to do? It just occurred to me. That's how I'm going to get more and more people to become members. Right now, I'm encouraging people to become members by getting access to exclusive this and behind the scenes and support me. But when the chat here becomes so overwhelming that I can only reach out to maybe 1 out of 10 comments, because they go by so quickly, people are going to super chat more because they want their comments to be seen. And those people who want a more personal vibe, they're going to become paid members so that they can come to the members only live streams.
Nice.
So that's an incentive to keep going. Mm-hmm. And I have to give, I'm kind of like a guest speaker on this YouTube boot camp thing that they started doing at Google.
Cool. Yeah. You told me about that.
I have to give a talk about what are the best practices that I have for helping to start memberships and I'm going to add that to my little speech today, which was just keep talking about the memberships and get it seated in people's mind and keep reminding them that you get more personal attention, because eventually as your channel grows, they're going to get frustrated with how popular you're becoming, and they're going to be willing to pay, which is exactly what happens with these rock stars. Why are you willing to pay $100 for a ticket to see Green Day or Weezer play live? Because you want to see them live and up close, and watching them on YouTube isn't personal enough.
It's like VIP, right?
And VIP, you pay $5,000. And so that's basically what this YouTube membership thing is creating. And you just got to keep going with it long enough to get your channel busy enough. So, you know, that's actually I was trying to figure out, like, how do you really translate from the free members to the memberships beyond just we love you. It's we love you and I want more one-to-one. You can't do one-to-one on YouTube. You can't do one-to-one relationships. But I mean, it's a very like a one to a small group, rather one to the masses.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on whatever?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, get the momentum and get a lot of people on your channel, and then you can open up that option. It makes total sense.
Let me just tell me how many. Oh, we're almost at the bottom, so let me just catch up with the last 5 messages, and then you're going to tell us again about EFT in your book. V Pirate says, talking about success, I think we're forgetting the other side of the coin. There's some people that just love to complain. By the way, it's some people who, not that. I won't pin you on the wall of shame today, but it's who. There's some people who just love to complain. That they don't really want success. Here's the thing. I complain a lot, but I have the uncanny ability of working my butt off while I'm complaining. So another song, whistle while you work. Mine is complain while you work.
Yeah, but some people complain while doing nothing. That's the difference.
And I think that's who V Pirate is talking about. And
complain in action.
You got to keep going. So V Pirate, if they didn't have something to gripe about, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves. They would rather complain than actually try. And honestly, I kind of, again, I don't, we don't have to talk politics, but I'm just going to share something of my perspective. I think that's the problem with a lot of the left media vilifying Trump for the last 8 years. And now MSNBC's Morning Joe and Micah, who were the most horrible Trump haters. They actually went to go visit Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago 2 days ago to have coffee with him. And so they called him the H word from Germany pretty much every single day. And then they went to go meet with him. That's like a Jew saying these horrible things about H. And then H says, hey, would you like to come to my home? We've got a beautiful gas chamber here. Would you like to come visit? and they go. But that's not the case, because nobody would do that. Which proves the point that Micah and the left were just calling him these names that were uncalled for. What does this have to do with what we're talking about right now? Is the fact that they thought that complaining was going to make them financially successful as talk show hosts. They realized that their ratings stink now. Nobody watches MSNBC anymore. And I think their bosses said, you got 2 choices. You can either stop being so hateful of Donald Trump and go visit him and have coffee with him at his house in Mar-a-Lago, or you no longer have a talk show here. And I think I applaud them for being smart and saying, you know what, we have a good job here and we can help a lot of people. Let's try to help people in a better way by still being on the talk show host. So I kind of agree with what you're saying right there, V Pirate. And Dr. B, you don't have anything to say about that, right?
No.
Okay. Pip Maple said, "Who was it that said I complained because I had no shoes until I met a man with no feet?" Absolutely.
Yeah, perspective. That's also perspective.
And that's again, and I envy those people in Mongolia. And I've been to Mongolia too, and I know what you're talking about. I've been to the yurts, and I've been out. I galloped through the plains of Mongolia on a horse, which was really fun. And I've been to China. I've been to Africa. I've seen people living in very tough conditions from our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They're happy. Their life is fantastic.
That's right.
And now, I don't want to be insulting. They look at us, Westerners, like we are alien creatures.
Well, they're not envious of that type of life, for sure.
Well, they're not envious, but they look at us in awe. Like, just like we would be in awe if an alien came down here, but I don't want to be an alien. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you came from Mars? Tell me about it. And then they go, oh, would you like to come to be a Martian with us? No, thank you. I don't want to go to Mars and live there. Elon does. That's another story.
Yeah.
But they have absolutely zero envy of our way of life. And I wish I could be like that, because I say I want to be. What do you say? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? And I think I want to be right and prove that all of my theories of success and psychology and motivation are true. And so I think I push myself, and that's why it's like, do you want to be right or happy? I want to be right. And I could be happy. I could give up all of it.
You can be both.
I can live in a yurt, and maybe I could live in a yurt, but I have to have my Wi-Fi there to do my YouTube live streams.
Yeah, well, that's the incredible people of Mongolia. They managed to create the infrastructure to have the internet everywhere in the country. It's amazing. They're all
I've read a
connected.
lot of Mongolia. If you look at Mongolia, they have a lot of things going on that do not get reported on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very, very impressive country.
Yeah.
It's beautiful too. So pretty. V Pirate says, I had to pop out for 5 minutes, had a call. I hope I didn't miss it. V Pirate, of course you missed something. You leave for 1 minute on the live stream with Monroe and Dr. B. It's all over. You'll never catch up. What's up, Barbara? Says, hi, Monroe. Hi, Doctor. Can you say hi to Barbara Bodnar-Chuck?
Hi, Barbara.
Jamie says, awesome. Congratulations. Welcome, Claudia. I think a one-to-one live is just a video call. It's called Zoom. V says, awkward. I'm sure I was making fun of V there for some reason about Canada. V's Pyre says, I don't mind you getting. I was going to say something about Kamala. When we're talking about this, she talks about positions that she's held, but not what she's done. She's not successful. Yes, and in that sense, I feel for Kamala Harris, because she's had many positions of accomplishment, but I don't think she's a successful person either. But I'm not criticizing her because I'm not a successful person myself. So I'm not trying to drag her down. She and I are the same. And I know how she feels. And you know, in many ways, part of me thinks the same thing, that Hillary Clinton may feel the same way. Part of me thinks that Hillary Clinton may feel that she is not a successful person, that she's accomplished so many things, but she didn't succeed on her own terms.
But see, that raises another question, which is the definition of success your own internal experience of your life, or is the definition of success something that's attributed to you by others? I mean, I don't know if Kamala feels successful or Hillary feels successful, because that's their own experience. I mean, as we're
talking about, there are multiple definitions. There are people who look at me and think I am one of the most successful people.
That's right. So from the external, there's like this interface of us with the rest of the world, right? After 6 years old, we start distinguishing us from the rest of the world. And so there's this success internally felt, and then there's the success seen from the outside world. And when I was in the corporate world, I was seen as successful. And on paper, it looked successful. I was miserable inside. So so you can be successful viewed from the outside and actually not successful at outside inside out.
Correct. And oh god, I had something I wanted
You
to
can
ask.
see he did some improv. And yes, and
Yes, and the I have noticed too. Another revelation. I'm gonna have to watch this again later and write down all of these notes about success and accomplishment are coming to me. The people who think I'm the most successful, I think, are the people who admire my accomplishments and wish that they had gone after more of their dreams in life.
yeah.
So I don't take away from them that they believe that I am success from their reference point, as we talked about, from their perspective. They believe I am. They wish they could be like me in that sense of this powerhouse who makes things happen. But I'm not successful from somebody who is got a job or started a business and made millions of dollars and something like that. They look at me and they do not look at the word and see, oh, that guy's a success. They might say, oh, I admire you. You know, you've done so much in your life. But I don't think they would use the word success.
Right. So it's a very relative thing, really.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
Hello, let's see, VCAT. Oh yeah, VCAT, getting political. Yes, sure. Hey, Barbara, good morning, Jamie. V Pirate says the most absurd thing we do as Americans to other countries has to be the naked and afraid style survival shows where we go to their country and try to survive for 2 weeks. V Pirate, you are
100%.
always very funny. You always say either stupid jokes that make me smile, or you say actually very astute observations about the world. As I said, V Pirate, if you haven't yet, make sure you fill out that form, youtubeguests.com. So I got your information, and we'll do with that. V Pirate says, this is my life every day. Yeah. Tell your doctor all about me, says Barbara. And Barbara, we would need an extra 3 or 4 hours to tell Dr. B about Barbara Bodnarchuk. You are a very special case. And it's not just a quick, how do you do? But maybe in time, Dr. B will get to know you on the very deep level that you're hoping for.
Nice.
Just so you know. Sorry for the typo, says, good morning, Joe visiting Trump. Yeah, pretty funny about that, V. Very interesting. All right, Jamie is jumping into the conversation. I feel successful because I've raised 4 happy. Actually, can you read that? Can you see that, Jamie? Can you read it out loud? My voice is. You read it and then respond
I
to
feel
it.
successful because I've raised 4 happy, productive members of society who are genuinely good people, in my opinion. Anything else I do is just a bonus. It's all perspective. Yeah. Successful mom. It's awesome.
And I again, I applaud and envy you, Jamie, for feeling that way. And I have as much. The thing is, I have as much to learn from each of you and from Dr. B as I hope that you all have to learn from me and Dr. B.
Yeah, so I reflect on what Jamie just said. In my life, I think the 3 most difficult moments in my life. Number 3, becoming a doctor. Not the first on my list. Number 2, learning to fly planes. And, if we have a chance, I'll tell you the story about when I could not land the plane. But then number 1 is delivering a freaking baby. I mean, this is the most I deliver naturally. So it is the most painful, exhilarating experience.
Wait. You're talking about as a mother, not as a doctor.
As a mother, yeah.
Mother, okay.
So becoming a doctor was way down the list in terms of difficulty.
You had a baby without any medication, without
Correct. Nothing.
Oh, Jamie, what is your feedback on that? Did use medication to dull the
She
pain.
got 4.
What's crazy is she had them all at the same time. And I imagine anyone would feel successful being able to do that.
Wow, that would be.
And Jamie says, I don't care if other people see it as a success. You know what's interesting too, Jamie, something you just mentioned is that I feel that I do. Yeah, again, success and accomplishment. I'm trying to think, like, are there things in my life that I feel were a success? Again, it's weird. Me graduating basic training with the Army, it was a grueling thing. As I mentioned many times, the first day I got there, I was like, awesome. I want to go special forces. After 3 days, I said, I want to get the heck out of here. This is what the heck did I sign up for? And when I graduated and I got it, I thought, no, that was it. Again, I feel like I successfully completed basic training. I don't believe I am a success or that was a success. I successfully maneuvered through it, and now I have an accomplishment in my equipment or my backpack. But I think
there she goes. 9.5 pound baby with no medication. Woohoo! That's awesome.
Is 9.5? Is that big?
It's substantial.
That's a substantial size. V Pirates, the same, Jamie. My 3 crotch goblins are my whole life. Some days they're amazing. Others they are aneurysms waiting to happen.
Yeah, and Jimmy says not by choice. The anesthesiologist was busy. That's funny. Yeah, when I delivered my son, the doctor was actually very busy with a twin birth that was a little bit difficult. And so the fact that I was like low maintenance mom, not asking for medication or anything, and I had no complication, thank God. He was relieved by that. He was like, okay, I can take care of the others.
That's great.
So yeah, sometimes that's what happens.
Crotch goblins and aneurysms waiting to happen. That's well said. Barbara says, have you heard of the naked beach in Canada? I'm sure the next thing is Barbara wants to invite me to go to the naked beach in Canada with her.
And do a live from there.
Okay, V Pirate, I will check the form probably sometime this weekend, and I'll get in touch with you, and we will set that up. Thank you for being patient, because since I've been sharing that, a bunch of people have been filling it out, and I've got a couple of other live stream guests that I need to just finalize. 9.5 pound baby with no medication, not by choice. The anesthesiologist was busy. Is that true, or is she joking?
No, I think it's true. I can totally see that as true.
That's sort of you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want, right? Which is true. You don't get to choose. If the baby's coming, the baby. But I guess that's happened many times. Do you ever watch the show Doc Martin? Did I tell you about it?
No, it does ring a bell though, but no.
It's a British show, and it's about this vascular surgeon, Martin Ellingham, who suddenly gets a phobia to blood for some reason.
Oh my goodness.
And so the only doctor work he could do is to become a general practitioner in the seaside town of Port Wen. And in one of the episodes, he gives birth to somebody, and it's just like in a bar, and clearly there's no medication and stuff, and so she's screaming a lot. It's a really funny TV show. If any of you guys, and by the way, there's an awesome. If you want to, I went to England just to go see, and I took a train from London to Bodmin Station, and then a cab to Port Isaac. Port Isaac is the shooting location of the fictional town of Port Wen. And I did a whole video walking tour, and I made a YouTube video. It's about an hour and 10 minutes of me going through this whole town and I go to all the different places where they shoot the TV show and stuff. So if you want to see a beautiful town in England, or you are a fan of Doc Martin and want to see it up close, go check out I think it's Monroe Visits Doc Martin's Port.
You did that for Paris too. You did a video when you went to Paris.
Yeah, that's all on the same trip. I did the Paris one was one. I first landed in London and went to Port Isaac. Then I went up, then I took a train to, I forget which city I went to. The city where the Banksy's from. Do you know where the city that is? The artist Banksy, where he was born?
No.
But anyway, I took a train to this city. From there, I flew to Bristol. I took a train to Bristol. From Bristol, I flew to Dublin. And my friend, who was my manager when I taught English in China, Paul Keeley, he met me there, picked me up, and I went to stay with him and his family. And then we went to this Drogheda, which is the name of the town, and it's spelled nothing like that. You look at the name of this, you're like, what the heck is that? So it's weird Gaelic spelling.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went back to Dublin, flew to Paris, and I spent a day in Paris, then took the train to Zurich, met my mom there, and then took the train down to Lugano for my college reunion. That's why the whole trip kind of happened.
Oh, cool.
And then from Zurich, from Lugano, we went back to Zurich, and then we flew back to Miami.
Amazing.
So that was a very nice trip. Barbara says, what if you have Khyber disease? Can you tell me more about that? Do you know anything about something called Khyber disease?
No, I'm not sure.
Barbara, is it spelled correctly? Maybe you can look into that. Vipira says, I love my military time. Basic training and other training was difficult at times. Not sure where the underwater basket weaving classes will be helpful, though. Did you actually do underwater basket weaving? Were you a Navy SEAL or something like that? That sounds like something that they would make Navy SEALs do to show that you are proficient in. Jamie says, true story. Part of the joys of a small town hospital. Military joke reference. Got it. One called in sick and the other was in surgery. Well, hey.
Did you mean liver disease, or I'm not sure? Khyber disease doesn't.
Oh, maybe it's liver disease.
But in what context?
I don't know. Barbara, do you have liver disease?
Small town hospital.
So anyway, while we're waiting for her to tell us what it is, did you answer the question about what
which question?
EFL is EFT or
EFT?
something? Did you share that with us?
EFT, no. EFT is so everyone calls it tapping. You know, you have these TikTok videos, Instagram, people tap on their own body and it's silly. It looks silly. So it's a very interesting technique, and it's very simple to learn, and it actually can change your life. It changed mine. Because it can help relieve trauma and overwhelm and stress and some emotional component of pain, and it just can help if you are in fight or flight mode most of the time, it can really help. Anyway, so you tap on meridian points, which basically a little tapping like this, and that calms your nervous system. Like, it goes into your unconscious brain and says you are safe.
Can we? Is it something that we could do, that everybody here could do on here, or do you have to do it for a certain period of time?
No, you can do it immediately. And then as you do that, technically, you also do some kind of exposure therapy. We were talking about exposure therapy as a joke earlier, but exposure therapy is really thinking and stating things that bother you, that trigger you emotionally, or a past event that's not comfortable. And when you do that, you send the message to the brain, hey, remember that time when I was stressed? Open that drawer for me. So the primitive brain opens that drawer, but you're tapping at the same time, telling the primitive brain it's safe.
Oh, is this the same thing as, there was a thing where the ball would go tick, tick, tick.
Oh, tick. That's EMDR. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Is
it a similar concept?
Same principle, yeah.
Do you feel that the tapping works better? EFT tapping is better than the EMDR?
There are studies that have been comparing the two, and most of the time they're comparable. I haven't experienced EMDR myself. I'm not a practitioner of EMDR, so I don't know technically, but I really like you have tons of different techniques with EFT, and you can kind of play around with different modalities. So anyway, when you do these two things together, you kind of, that double message that you send to your brain confuses the primitive brain and basically says, okay, I used to have an alert system, an alarm ringing and putting the body in fight-flight mode when I open that drawer. And I'm receiving this message of safety, so it means I don't need to ring that bell. And so basically it starts disconnecting, and you can see the shift in people when that happens. It starts disconnecting that memory that's triggering from the actual body response. And when you do that, you basically start the process of neuroplasticity, which means rewiring your neurons physically into a different direction.
How long would it take to do a quick session to show me and to show others how to do it?
Can take a couple of minutes. So,
Okay,
for example,
why don't we give it a try, and I encourage those of you watching to follow along and do the exercise at home as well.
Yeah.
By the way, you can subscribe to Dr. B's YouTube channel. What's the name of the channel?
So the YouTube channel is The Mood Dojo. TheMuDojo.
Okay.
I'll need to change that one, but the Mood Dojo.
I'm going to put a link on. I'll make a post, a community post after the interview today or tomorrow. So if any of you guys want to subscribe to her channel, you'll be able to easily find it. You don't have to remember it.
Sounds good. So what we can do is everyone can do it with us, because there's another thing that's called borrowing benefits. So even if you tap on someone else's issue, you can get the benefit of it anyway, because you're going to tap on yourself. But what we're going to do is we're going to ask Monroe, what is the last thing that stressed you, like today or yesterday?
Today, let's see. All right, so I met this Russian girl at the supermarket 2 days ago, and we just ended up talking. And I said, "Hey, I'm not interested in you romantically. I just would. You seem like a really interesting person. I'd like to, maybe we can continue our chat." She was asking me legal questions, and I was asking her about Russia, and I said, "I'd love you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'd like you to please, maybe we can get together." Oh, she was talking about Chinese food in New York, and I said, "Oh, there's the best Chinese food is up on 71st Street." She goes, "Oh, I live right up near there." I said, "Cool. Maybe we can just grab a lunch sometime, and as friends, and we can just continue this chat." And she said, "Sure." So she gave me her number. I texted her back, and I said, and she said, "Oh, when are you free?" I said, I said I'm free probably anytime. So basically for lunch over today, no good. But this was last night. I said, but I'm free after around 3 or 4 o'clock. And I said, by the way, just this is a friendly thing. Just because I don't like Miami Beach girls, and I don't like romantic stuff, and I don't want there to be any obligation or anything. I just want it to be friendly stuff. So she writes back to me and she goes, "Ha ha 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 ha. Well, I'm a Russian girl." I said, "Yeah, but you're in Miami Beach." And I said, "Look, it's all good. I'm just going to get one dish and we can share it. That's the best that I can do. I'm not paying for your lunch because it'll make things, it's weird. I just want to be your friend, and that's it. And if you want to come and chat with me, that's great." She writes back and said, "Well, clearly you have major financial problems, and I am I am a pretty Russian girl, and I expect the man to pay for everything, even though I probably make I make so much money that I can buy anything I want, anytime I want. I expect you to be the man here."
So how did you feel when you saw that?
I was so angry.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you can even feel me getting angry just talking about
this.
this.
So I'm going to stop you there, because I can demonstrate tapping just on that. So as you felt angry, just tune back into that moment when you saw that text message and you started feeling angry.
I feel it right now.
Right. So where do you feel in your body right now?
It's right in my chest, right here in my belly.
In your stomach, or
right below my sternum,
solar
directly
plexus.
below it.
Solar plexus. And how intense is that on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's 3, but It's a 3 that it's uncomfortable enough that I can feel it now, and I don't even like.
Describe it to me. Like, is it like, how do you describe this? Is it a pain or is it?
Well, it's weird because I'm hungry at the same time. but the hunger is definitely in front of my, like behind my belly button, this pain. This is an awkward feeling. Like it's like somebody is like little men are inside my stomach, and they're kind of pushing up against the solar plexus and kind of rubbing it like this. So, she's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help this guy.
All right, so that's it. That's all I need. So you're going to start tapping on the side of your hand.
Okay, I'm gonna. You won't.
Right there.
You can't really see it, but I'm tapping.
That's okay. You're doing it. So you tap on the side of your hand at the frequency and intensity you feel comfortable with. All of that needs to be comfortable. Okay. And you're gonna repeat things after me.
Okay.
Okay. You're gonna say, even though I met this Russian girl.
Yeah. Even though I met this Russian girl.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though she sent me that text message.
Even though she sent me that text message.
Hey, I'm a Russian girl.
Hey, I'm a Russian girl.
Hey, I expect the man to pay for everything.
Hey, I expect the man to pay for everything.
And it made me immediately angry. I acknowledge how I feel anyway. And even though I have this anger in my stomach. Like men are inside my stomach rubbing against my solar plexus.
Like little men are inside my stomach rubbing against my solar plexus.
I choose to relax now. Okay, and now you're going to tap on top of your head. This Russian girl.
This Russian girl.
This Russian girl.
This Russian girl.
And her freaking text message.
And her stinking text message.
I'm a Russian girl, she said.
I'm a Russian girl, she said.
I'm expecting men to pay for everything.
I'm expecting men to pay for everything.
I remember receiving that text message.
I remember receiving that text message.
I felt angry. So collarbone, sorry, I'm not even giving you guidance. I felt angry as soon as I received that text message.
I felt angry as soon as I received that text message.
Okay, and now you tap under your armpit.
Armpit, okay.
I felt angry right away.
I felt angry right away.
Top of your head, and I feel that in my stomach.
And I feel that in my stomach.
All these little men rubbing against my solar plexus.
All these little men rubbing against my solar plexus.
So angry.
So angry.
Who is she to tell me that?
Who is she to tell me that?
And she said, you clearly have major financial issues.
And you clearly have major financial issues.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
So angry when I received that text message.
So angry when I received that text message.
She's telling me, who am I? But who is she?
She told me, who am I? But who is she?
Who is she? This Russian girl.
This Russian girl.
This Russian girl.
This Russian girl.
This freaking text message.
This stinking text message.
Paying for everything.
Paying for everything.
I'm this Russian girl.
I'm this Russian girl.
That feeling in my stomach.
That feeling in my stomach.
That anger in my stomach.
That anger in my stomach.
I could not take that.
I could not take that.
And right here, right now.
And right here, right now.
How do you feel right here, right now, actually?
Oh, I don't feel it in my... The little men are gone.
Okay, little men are gone. That's great.
The little
men
are gone.
How do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10?
I feel a good 9, 9.5. I'm feeling good.
Oh, yeah, so you're doing it... I mean, the feeling of 9 to 10 is usually on the other direction. That's okay. So 9 to 10, you feel good. That's good.
Yeah.
And then any other thought came up.
Yeah, I'm realizing that
your eye, sorry, not your nose, under your eye. Yeah.
Oh, she's such a loser. She's making... You know what? I wrote to her, and I'm really proud of my response because I was very calm. And I said, first, you're making a lot of assumptions. I said, I have no financial problems, and that has nothing to do with why I do this.
Under your nose.
I want to be a friend. I don't want to be your financial provider. Because I have no idea who. Funny, this same woman said this when. Anyway, and I just realized that I'm glad that I dodged a huge bullet, because I'm glad and I wrote to her, I said, just so you know, I have no desire at all to be your friend anymore. And that was it. And she didn't respond. And I'm glad.
Repeat after me. I dodged a huge bullet.
I dodged a huge bullet.
And I already responded anyway.
And I already responded anyway.
And right here, right now, I'm okay.
And right here, right now, I'm okay.
All right. So just take a deep breath. How do you feel now? Like, tell me that story about that Russian girl again.
Yeah. So, yeah, one time, there's this Russian girl. Now, I've had these Russian girls. Russian girls have been notoriously bad matches for Monroe.
So it's not the first time you have something to do with.
No, the first Russian girl took me to the Russian tea room in Manhattan. The bill came to $270.
Oh.
And then she wanted to go to the bar for drinks. So I have this, like, I've learned, like, Russian girls are typically like this, and it is a stereotype, but I have yet to meet a Russian girl who doesn't try to take money from you.
Maybe you should just stop meeting Russian girls.
Yeah, I you know what? I also try to not. I try to give people a chance.
Yeah, you don't want to be biased.
I'm proud of I gave this person a chance. She fell into the trap of the typical experience. I'm proud of myself that I got out of it within 48 hours, and she's gone. She's out of my life. And but it did make me upset at the time.
So how do you feel now? Because when I asked you earlier, you started feeling angry.
Now it's just another story.
There you go.
It's just another story to tell.
That's it.
And another lesson to learn. And it's another story to add to my romantic suicide book part 2, which is don't date Russian women, and don't ask Russian women. Don't talk to Russian women at the supermarket. They're doubly dangerous. Double D's.
Yeah. But you see how it doesn't trigger that anger right away anymore. And it did a few minutes ago when you started talking about it.
Would that have been effective if I did it myself, or is it more effective because I did it with someone who guided me?
So that's a good question. It can absolutely be effective if you do it by yourself. Mm-hmm. The one thing though, when it starts to be a little bit more complicated because it's rooted into childhood stuff, it becomes more difficult to do it by yourself because you may not be hearing, or you may not be observing your own body language shifts, or you may not be hearing or paying attention to a little voice that comes up. And that's what I do when I work with clients. I do what I call the archaeology of the mind, because when that little thought comes up, it's usually something that people say, oh, I just had a thought, but it has nothing to do with what we're tapping on. And I'm like, it has everything to do with what you're tapping on. So we're going to go and pull that thread.
So it is helpful to have someone who has expertise such as yourself, because they can make sure that things stay focused and on track.
Exactly.
Two things. Obviously, would love to have you back again to talk about your having problems landing the airplane story.
Yeah.
Number 2, it would be cool to do this again on something. I'm seeing that maybe this could be effective. I want to do it with something that has caused me massive psychological and emotional dysfunction for the last 4 years, and see if you can help me get through that.
Yeah.
That's the second thing. The third thing is,
and you want to do that live? You're okay doing it live?
Yeah, I have no problem doing it live.
That's cool.
And if you do this live with people and you bring people on who are willing to do it with you as a guest live, I think your channel could take off very, very steadily, because it's fascinating to watch people go through this. Mm-hmm. And people swipe through and they find, what the heck why are they both doing this really weird thing? And
I know, I call it the silly technique. It's silly. It's really silly.
It is silly, but I think what is YouTube Live but silly? People get attracted to weird things. And in this way, it's weird, but you're also helping people. So I'd love to have you on as a guest again to talk about those two things. But I also think maybe you could start doing that through through yours, because I think I'm sure some of my guests here would be interested.
Yeah, in fact, my plan is to have next year. I'll probably have something I call the grounding or tapping circle. I'll have that like every 5 weeks.
A tapping circle. That sounds so cool. It's like a drum circle, but it actually helps
I love
you.
drum. Yeah, I love drum circles. So that's exactly the
Really
philosophy.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I want to go into the comments. Thank you for this, because that was very, very interesting. And literally, those little men are gone. So this is very good. So we got some questions here. V Pirate with another of his jokes. Liver disease affecting pregnant women. Maybe the guys should live her alone. Get it? Live her alone.
That's beautiful.
Yuck, 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 yuck. Jamie says the Russian girl turned Monroe from hungry to hangry. Yes. Now the only pain in my belly is the hunger that I have to eat some lunch. V Pirate says maybe it's just gas. But you know what? Russian women tend to give me gas. That is. You know what? While I was talking to her, I was farting a lot. You know, that's another thing. I dodged a bullet and I dodged a smelly marriage. Wow. V Pirate says, I hate it when people make assumptions. Sounds like she was just in it for the money. I have never found so many women concentrated in one population of women who only care. They come to Miami Beach. That is they're not gold diggers. They're gold travelers.
Mm.
They travel to Miami Beach specifically because they know, A, there are super rich guys here, or B, there are people who are not super rich who are dumb enough to impoverish themselves trying to impress these women.
Mm.
And these women have no desire to become successful on their own. They have no desire to make their own money. And I love how they try to guilt trip and insult people like me because I don't want to spend my money on you. There's something wrong with me? And I always say that, like, people say, oh, so when you get married, you're not going to support. If I get married, it's someone who doesn't care about me for money. I'm getting married, and it's like someone who wants to help with whatever my life story is. And if like we're gonna have kids and go, great, you're gonna stay home and take care of the kids, or you're gonna help work and help pay for the child care.
Oh my goodness, that's a whole big conversation to have on that one.
It's a whole different thing. It's like, and that's the other thing. Are men so horny and they are so desperate to be around women and that they're willing to just work? Basically, they're prostitutes, these women.
Mm-hmm.
I think about them as like literally men are working really hard to buy things for women to sleep with them. That's it. That's it. And when the money is gone, the women leave. What does that sound like? A prostitute.
Mm.
If the money stops, the woman leaves. So any woman who leaves a man or a man who leaves a woman because the breadwinner lost all the money, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's really shameful.
It's a different
and so
type of life.
I'm
values.
Really, I'm sorry. You were saying?
No, just a different type of life and different values, you know.
Yeah, and I am willing to be single for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
If it means not being with some woman who the first thing that they judged me on is their perception of my financial situation. And worse than that, they want you to pay for them whether they like. That's the other thing. So they don't care how much money you have or don't have. If I just said, hey, I'll go out and meet you and I'll buy you dinner, I was doing it as a favor. To say, look, I don't want to complicate things. As soon as I start paying something, then all of a sudden, oh, is this romantic? This and that? And anyway, good riddance to bad rubbish. V Pirate says, never send a message out in anger. Always try to take some time to set your phone down and come back to it. And I've gotten good. I didn't send the message in anger. I was angry, but I've gotten good at what would you write if you were not angry?
Mm-hmm.
And and you're right, V Pirate. You either don't write a message when you're angry, or learn how to separate the anger from your response writing abilities.
Well, the best thing is really to write it down somewhere where you don't have a risk of sending it by accident, because that happened to me. And then sit on it for either an hour or just sleep on it, because the next day it looks very different. So I agree with that.
There was autocorrect. What was the message that I was writing? I forget what it was. I was trying to say something like, "You are so," and it started with a J. I don't know what the word was. And autocorrect said, changed it to Jewish. And I didn't see it, and I sent it. And I went, "Oh my gosh, this looks so bad." And it's like autocorrect should never autocorrect for something that could be perceived as a slur. Like, why would you autocorrect to that? Like, you're so maybe you're so jumpy. Maybe like that's what I was doing. You're so jumpy, or something like that. And it went to "You're so Jewish," and the person was Jewish, and so it came across that it was.
Oh.
But anyway, I sent it because, again, haste makes waste, as you're saying right there. Double check what you do.
Yeah.
Nicola says you should probably stick to us British girls. You're right, Nicola. I've never had problems with a fake British online YouTube wife, such as yourself. No problems at all. What's up, Jahid Mohammed Ibn Abdullah Muran Al Hassan Ikaban Akabud. Okay, why are we talking about Russian women? What did I miss? Oh, Anchor. You're gonna have to go back and watch this. It's too long to fill you in.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, be careful. I would say be wary of Russian women, Turkish women, Italian women, Greek women, French women, Spanish women, Icelandic women, Vietnamese women, Chinese women, Japanese women, North Korean women, South Korean women, American women. You can see where I'm going here.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go too. I gotta go eat some food. Let's just catch up on the last few messages here, and then we'll sign off. Who's talking about a Russian woman he met at the grocery store? He is okay. Definitely my American husband. Can I take you out for a meal? Somebody wants to take Nicola out for lunch. Nicola's got some competition here.
Yeah.
V Pirate says, I'm 40, but part of me still think they're 18. I'm not getting into a relationship again if it's not deep and real, though. I agree. I don't want a man's money because then he thinks I owe him. 100%, Jamie. That's the thing. I don't want any woman to feel like it's just a bad thing. I reserved a domain called letsdatedutch.com. And I think maybe I'll develop it into a dating site where everyone has to agree. Nobody pays. You pay for your own way for the first 5 dates. So you can go on 5 dates together, and if you violate that, you get kicked off the site.
Nice.
And you can't guilt. And everybody, that way you know the people are there because of your personality. And isn't that lovely? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I mean, you filter out the people you don't want in there. That's great.
And my wife and I have a shared account, but also a personal account. Good, Anchor. I'd love to keep talking about all the stuff here, Anchor. But I want to jump off, and I got to get lunch here. Looking for a romantic relationship. I mean, in the beginning of the relationship, I know will be weary of Russian women. I like busty matures with long dark hair and glasses. I mean, that's funny, John. Anchor likes North Korean women. Pit Maple says, thanks. It's been a good stream. Thank you so much, Pit Maple. Thanks to everyone. And I will just lay my last word, and then Dr. B, you can have your last word. Anchor, have a shared account and a personal account. I think that is wonderful because when you're married, you're running a business. It is a partnership. And why would you go into business why would I go into business with Dr. B, and let's say we start a restaurant, and all of my money and all of her money is all intermingled into the restaurant's bank account? That makes zero sense. No. There should be the money, the joint account for the joint bank account, and you make joint decisions based on that help the partnership. But yes, Dr. B, like my wife, quote unquote, she should have her bank account for her own life, my bank account for my life. And let me just ask that, and then you can give your last word, Dr. B. I believe you are married. Am I right?
I am.
Do you have both joint and personal bank accounts?
Yes, we do. And then we have accounts for the different businesses that are separate.
See? So beautiful.
Yeah.
Anchor, you do
Keep
it
it
the right
clean.
way. It's the way to do it. You have to have love, but separate.
Even my son has his own account, you know.
And I think that's wonderful. And my advice is for all of you: don't try to get into your potential significant other's bank account on the first day. It's so disgusting and so insulting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say goodbye and hope you guys will subscribe. Please click like. Please consider joining as a member. Monroe Man, YouTube.com/Monroe Man/join. Thank you to Claudia for becoming the latest member of this live stream. Later today or tomorrow, I will give a link in my community post to Dr. B's YouTube channel. So if you want, you can subscribe. I'm sure she's going to be doing some more of these cool tapping sessions. And final words from Dr. B. Tell us what everybody should know about you and where they can find you and all that.
I would say the key message that I have these days is trauma is overcomable. That's it. Trauma is overcomable. If you start knowing and understanding and taking that perspective that this is even a possibility to get out through the tunnel and process your trauma and be happy in life, then I'd have done my job. Just believe in it.
Beautiful. And where would you like people to find you or to reach out to you?
Well, we'll give them the link, you know.
Okay.
I mean,
so all you guys need to do is subscribe to her channel, and you'll be able to get in touch with her through there.
Exactly.
We'll definitely have her back. She was a wonderful guest, and she has great news stories to tell, and we'll try to get through Monroe's trauma together.
Awesome. Thank you, Monroe.
Thank you, Dr. B. I hope you guys will send her. Yeah, V says great live, fantastic guest. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Jamie says preach. John Henry's laughing. Jamie says lovely to meet you, Dr. B. Thank you to you, Monroe. Have a wonderful day. And so does Pip Maple in England. Bye, Dr. B. It's been great. Thanks for getting the little man out of my belly. Bye-bye.
Bye.